Can I ask all of you as well, all three of you? I'll start with, why don't I start with Hilary? What's your position on when and if universities contact parents when they're dealing with young adults who are now legally in charge of themselves, I suppose?
Well, what needs to happen, which is what we're fighting for, is that there needs to be a legal duty of care, so that there's a framework and a system coherent that makes sure that our students aren't harmed in any way and completely supportive. And this needs to go across all universities all over the country. They all need to do the same thing. So, for example, Bristol at the moment, I gather, is doing a really good opt-in. They rang 98 parents last year. Gosh, if I'd have been rung, I would have been in that car.
Do you know whether those calls were after getting permission from the young student to call the parents, or were they just, you need to know this?
I believe that they were given permission because the students agreed to the opt-in.
Yeah.
But you have a responsibility to, if so Phoebe put her hand on her heart and said she wished the pain to end 20 hours before she died to the counsellor, you don't do nothing. You don't hide behind the fact that, oh well, as an adult I don't have to do anything. You don't walk past somebody who's drowning in a pond and go, yeah, well, that's not my job.
She's over 18. I won't ring her mum. Yeah.
I won't. What?
And
it's just bad.
And Margaret and Robert on that. Margaret, your thoughts on that, on when a parent should be involved?
You, Max.
I think there's a lot of talk about, they're adults and we can't do things without their consent. What we found in our case, and indeed in other families, is that quite often they don't ask for consent. So on one hand, they say they're adults. On the other hand, they're treated like children by not asking them for consent. So that's one issue, is that they don't ask for consent. The other issue is, even when they have consent, in some cases, they don't contact families. And we know, particularly with regard to depression and hopelessness, that involving families is really, really important. So they need to have the conversations and not just hide behind confidentiality, but basically think about what is the practical thing that's right and helpful for this person.
And also, of course, every family is different. Some young people might have very good reason not to want to contact parents, that. But when I keep saying a child, but when an 18-year-old has just left home for the first time and gone to live often in a different city, in an entirely different environment with brand new people, that is a serious umbilical cord moment in that young person's life, isn't it? It certainly was for me. It seems to me that we have to have some kind of explicit way where we all agree how we navigate that as parents, as students, and as lecturers together.
Yeah, absolutely. We need to do that, and then we can be proud of our universities, and we can say, wow, we've got this legal duty of care, and we're all doing this to help not only just the students, but the staff as well. It must be awful to be staff at university and not really know what you're meant to be doing, or not whether you are meant to be contacting or not contacting, or information sharing, or whatever. So it's better for the students, the staff, and the staff have a legal duty of care, which I find is unbelievable, considering that the students are probably more vulnerable than some of the staff, having, as you say, just stepped home for the first time. So the staff have a legal duty of care. Why on earth did the students not have that? It's just something that's pushed, that they've just seemed to me got away. They've got no legal responsibility, no accountability, no coherent, consistent approach. There's no legal duty to protect, and they can go on saying that, oh, we're doing it, but that's not good enough.
You want some rigour in that system, don't you? That's obviously what your campaign is about. Yeah. And Robert, a final thought from you, if I could, for a parent listening who has concerns, has maybe been holding back because their child isn't coming forward, or the university isn't contacting them. Robert, what would you say to that parent?
Right. Well, first of all, you've got to accept that the university is highly unlikely to ever contact you. I'm afraid the responsibility is with you, the parent. Best people to talk to is the friends of your child. They will know what's going on. What we've done with our son is to make sure we have the telephone numbers of everyone he shares a flat with. And yes, they have contacted us on one occasion. So don't trust the university. They won't contact you. look to other ways of finding out what's going on.
Yeah.
And the friends will know, and they will tell you because they care about your child. More so than perhaps the university does.
And it can't have been easy for him to lose his sister in those circumstances either, could it? So I wish you all well for next year. And thank you for coming on today, Robert and Margaret Aberhart and Hilary Grime, all of whom have lost their children in awful, awful circumstances. I'm going to give you the Samaritans number before I give you the other numbers to call LBC. The Samaritans number is 116 123. Free to call 116 123. If you're a young person at uni, or you've got children at university, or maybe you teach there, you're a lecturer there, it does seem to me to be common sense that there needs to be some rigorous statutory agreed understanding of how, again, with people's consent at the heart of it, but when a young person who's gone to university is in distress, there is an agreed framework, really, as to how you handle that. There is one in schools, there is one in your workplace, so there needs to be one from a university perspective for young people, doesn't there? 0345 606 0973, the number to call. You can text 84850, you can tweet at LBC. It's 2:19.